Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are diving into an amazing tool that can revisualize the way you're handling data storage and collaboration. The tool's name is Nextcloud. If you're tired of overpaying for hard drives and concerned about your data security and privacy, this video is for you. Plus, stay tuned for complete setup guide on a Docker. This video isn't sponsored by Nextcloud or by anybody else. I'm creating it. This will be fully Docker setup. Next video in the future will be full setup on a Linux. I would be very thankful if you would subscribe, like and comment this video. That will bring me more energy to create more interesting content. Subscribe so that you don't miss interesting content because, well, I'm moving forward and I have planned a lot of projects for this year and depends on the health, on time, how it will go. But about Nextcloud, Nextcloud isn't just a tool. It's a game changer in the world of cloud storage and services. It's an open source platform that allows you to set up your own cloud storage service inside your office buildings, inside your house, or even on VPSs. Think of it as your personal Dropbox or Google Drive, but with more control and privacy over it. All the Nextcloud code is transparent. You can read the code for Android, iOS apps in their GitHub. For the web, for the system, for the encryption, for everything, you can get the code inside their GitHub as Nextcloud encrypts your data. You can enable this function so that it's all encrypted and safe. So you become the master of your data. Why you should consider using Nextcloud right now? Well, cost effective. Instead of paying monthly fees for limited storage, with Nextcloud, you just need a server or VPS. You can choose any hosting provider with the best price, or you can host it in your office, on your laptop, on your PC. You don't need any deep knowledge. You just need a server that runs Docker. Privacy and control. Your data stays yours. You're not subject to any whims of big corporations who offer something free. But as we know, even the cheese for mouse isn't free. So anyhow, they sell something to the highest bidders, or maybe some corporations, I cannot vouch for that, some corporations maybe scan the data and read it, so your ideas can become someone else's ideas. Customizable, add only the features you need, from file sharing to collaboration tools, etc. Because Nextcloud offers a lot of tools, great tools, also for encrypted communication and everything that can be hosted on your server. You can increase your productivity, you can track your devices, you can, track your teammates, track their progress, track their work. Everything can be done from the Nextcloud web UI. Easy to install, easy to manage, easy access. Access your files from anywhere, on any device currently. You can also you can avoid these viruses that locks your files or computer, because Nextcloud keeps history of all your files and changes. Therefore, if your computer has been hacked and you get a virus that locks you out and asks for, some kind of Bitcoin to unlock, you can just reinstall your operation system and download the files that wasn't encrypted with the hack from the Nextcloud. You're not convinced yet? Let's get into the exciting part of it, is that you own your private, secure and customizable cloud storage with Nextcloud that you can host on your own device. Your data is in your hands. you're not only saving money, but also taking a big step in protecting your private data, your business data, your ideas. Because with Nextcloud, you can do this easily, and I will show you. Just small free thing that I'm asking. Please subscribe, click the notification bell, and click like. I will be very thankful for your support, for investing your time in subscribing to my channel, for watching this video, as I'm investing the same time creating this video for you. I hope this guide will be helpful. If you have any questions or need assistance, drop a comment below. Don't forget to like it, to share, and to subscribe for more tech tips and tutorials. Also, the manual for this, all the links will be listed below under the description. And also, if you want to read this all information and get the commands, you can get them from my blog, walters.eu, and also it will be listed below. So thank you, and let's dig in. So once we have reached this step, now we need to create our MySQL database inside our Docker container, of course. So let's go into our Docker by executing the following command. In my case, my Docker container for MySQL is called MySQL-world. So apparently, if you used my guide on setting up Docker MySQL container, then maybe you will have the same container name. If not, then, well, change it to yours. And once we are inside our Docker container, let's create our database. Actually, sorry, not create database, but log in into MySQL itself. So we need to specify MySQL. We will use user root and the password. Also the password, if you use the guide from my website, you need it to replace your top secret password with your password. Therefore, enter your password. Now we are inside MySQL itself. Let's create our database by executing the following command, and our database will be called Nextcloud. As we can see, we have created our database, and basically what you can do right now is you can use your existing root account for accessing the database, but we will create a new separate account called Nextcloud U. This is from my website. And of course, you need to replace this password. This is for educational purposes. This is a reminder to YouTube to not ban this video, as this is just a demo, and this Nextcloud instance after publishing the video will be completely deleted. Also, this MySQL database and user will be completely deleted. So this password is not something that will be used in any of instances after the video. And also I would like to mention that I will try to blur out this password, because I had already issue with YouTube that one system gave out the passwords after the installation, and YouTube banned that video. Therefore needed to do some adjustments and lost all the views. As you can see, our Nextcloud U user is created. It can connect from any host, since we have the percentage sign inside. If we would use specific IP or let's say local host, then the only it could connect from localhost or from the specific IP. And this is our password that will be deleted after this video. Once we have done that, now we need to grant the privileges from the user to the database. In this case, here is we will specify our database name, Nextcloud, and we will give the full permission to Nextcloud user database. The user will have full permission to hold the tables inside the database, and the user can connect from any host as we previously have specified. Now let's apply the privileges. And this part is done. We have created our database, Nextcloud. The user, which will be able to connect to the database, will be Nextcloud U with the specific password. The user will have the full privileges to Nextcloud database all the tables. So this part is done, and we can exit our container, and we are back in our Linux, and we can continue with our setup of Nextcloud. Now we can run the commands to download the Nextcloud image and start it, and afterwards go to the installation phase. And now we can go to hub.docker.com, for some reason _ Nextcloud. The link will be also posted after the description under this video in YouTube, and maybe in Rumble, depends how heavy the video will be. And in this page you can find a lot of information. You can see all the tags, the Docker tags that Nextcloud has, the vulnerability scans and stuff like that. But also you can find the launch commands for the Nextcloud itself. As you can see, here's just a simple run. Here is running the Nextcloud PHP FPM version, all kinds of stuff. And here you can see there are like MySQL database, username, password, hostname. You can specify it already in running the Docker container. The same is with PostgreSQL, Nextcloud admin user and password, the data directory, trusted domains, also updates, Redis configuration, SMTP configuration, and stuff like that. If we speak about Redis, recently for Redis there is a bad vulnerability outside. I hope they are already patching it, but for Nextcloud, using Redis actually speeds up your Nextcloud very well. Therefore, I suggest to use Redis, but I have configured for myself that Redis is in different Docker container. Therefore, it is much secure, and as here Nextcloud offers you to specify the Redis contain, let's say, hostname or IP address that can be your Redis Docker container. The same is with port and password. So I would suggest to use Redis, and in one of upcoming videos maybe I will also create specifically for this topic how to run Redis in a Docker and how to configure it securely. Of course, except for that vulnerability, because I cannot impact that part. That's something that vendor needs to fix. The same is with the SMTP configurations. You can use S3, AWS S3 for putting your files, but keep in mind this will decrease the speed of your Nextcloud, because your VPS or server, or where are you using it, let's say at home for example, the network speed from you to AWS and the AWS load can decrease the speed of your Nextcloud instance itself. And of course, other configurations. Also here are examples for Docker Compose, how you can use it, how you can specify these configurations. And this is important. If you run all these, let's say Nextcloud user, Nextcloud password, Nextcloud data trusted domains, then of course you need to use secrets, authorize anybody who has access to your VPS. Of course, the secrets he can see anyhow, but if you deploy using GitHub Actions, GitLab, Bitbucket or something else, the passwords are not hidden, therefore they are visible and anybody can use them. If you have secrets in specific location, actually Docker keeps those secrets, therefore they are also accessible. So I don't use this kind of method. Of course, here is, let me drag it in. We will not use this all that we can use, because we will be using a bit different configuration, a bit different approach. We'll install it completely so that we have everything more secure. As I mentioned, the secrets can be downloaded as well from your Linux Docker server, as they are in one specific folder. So I will be doing a completely different approach. Well, I think here will be a lot more experts if someone starts to comment that I'm doing it wrong. But I don't like this approach. I like my own approach, how I run the containers. So let's replace all this. This will be our container hostname, like domain, what we'll be using to access it. Let's delete all of this, and we don't have a custom template yet. That maybe in the future I will show you how to do that as well. But our host name, this is needed for Let's Encrypt. Now I have created a specific network, Docker network, that I'm using. If you want your own custom Docker network, please feel free to go to my YouTube channel, and you will find how to create Docker network in shorts. That takes under 1 minute. That's pretty easy, one command. Now this will also be virtual host needed for Let's Encrypt and for the Nginx proxy. This will be our Let's Encrypt email, where they will send us notifications that our certificate is expiring. You should replace this one, as well as domain name, network, container name with your own. And this is also for Let's Encrypt host, so that it knows what to send to Let's Encrypt server for applying the certification. This is our container paths. We are now mounting it to SRV containers test cache Nextcloud. This directory will be mounted there. This is for custom applications. Also, we are mounting this directory to this one on our Linux server. By the way, I'm running Ubuntu 22.04 LTS. That's if you're wondering what OS I'm using. Also, configuration file and data file. Why we need to mount all these things, that is, if we want to update our Nextcloud in the future, then we need those things to be mounted so that after the update, the Nextcloud doesn't fail. I will also create specific video on how to create automatic updates, but I guess if you are already in IT, then you know how to do it. If you're not in the IT, then that video will be for you. And this is that we are using Nextcloud latest version. Now let's do like this, so that we can have this one command executed in our Linux terminal. One second, here we go. If you're now wondering what does this one mean, this means Docker run as a container detached. That means it doesn't open straight away the container inside the terminal, because sometimes, well, it happens. And now let's run our command, and we can see that it's downloading the Nextcloud image currently and extracting all the needed things for the image to work. This can take some time. It depends on your hosting provider or your internal network. If you're hosting in your office, the network speed. As you can see, my hosting has not bad speed, but it's also going fast, and I know that some hostings have faster. I think I have some limitations since I have used all my bandwidth. So now we see we have our Docker container pulled, installed, and it should actually show up if we execute. Sorry. If we execute docker psa -a, we see that we have our container that has container ID. The image name is Nextcloud latest. We are using latest image, of course. Endpoints, it's up 22 seconds, created 22 seconds ago, and up 25 seconds. And it has port 80, and here I made a bad mistake. Therefore, I need to kill this container. I didn't specify the port for reverse proxy. So Docker stopped container ID. Let's remove the container. Let's edit our a bit our command to execute, and it was like this. Let's have like 330, and these are, let me explain to you a bit about these ports. Basically, the port 80, it means that it's the HTTP traffic that actually is used. And the port 443, it's, I did them a bit wrongly. Actually, the port 443 is the HTTPS traffic. Let's do like this. I think it was like this. Once we now execute it, again, the same command. We didn't download anything because we already have it. The image downloaded, and we can see 5 seconds ago it's created. It is up 5 seconds, and we can see that IP 0000, and we see the port forwardings. And yep, the container is still up and running. So now we move to our, if we move to our browser and we go to amberit.com, and we see that we have Nextcloud installation, and now we need to specify all the details to connect our Nextcloud with our MySQL database, with data storage that we will use locally in Docker, of course, and we will have fully installed Nextcloud system. The installation and connection to MySQL is straightforward. There is no deep IT knowledge needed, and I think if you looked at whole this video, then you would already understand most of the things, because I try to create my videos simple as possible so that any day-to-day user can do these type of actions. So firstly, let's create our username. This will be admin account's username, so I will go with amberit. Here we need to create a secure password. I am suggesting to create a really secure password so that nobody can find it, since this is admin account, and with admin account you can control the whole Nextcloud interface. I have created it off the scene, so I just pasted it in. Storage database type, storage and database. This will leave as it is, but if you create your own custom Linux image or you use S3 AWS, then you can also leave this as it is if you use AWS, and you can change it later in the configurations using the Nextcloud admin UI web interface. If you are creating your own Linux image, then I suggest you leave it somewhere, let's say somewhere here or even further, but we'll use it as it is. Since we are using the Nextcloud default image, of course you can specify it inside the Docker command, what we deleted. If you go to Nextcloud Docker page, you will see that you can specify that place where the data is stored. Now let's go with MySQL. MySQL username. We created Nextcloud U, the MySQL password. Also keep this password as a secret, don't give to anybody. And this is why I'm using it straight here instead of the secrets. Of course, if someone opens the configuration file of Nextcloud, he will see these credentials instead of, let's say, secret used. But if the person has access to your Linux server or Docker container, then it will not help if you have them in secrets as well. But I'm not saying don't use secrets, I'm just saying that you need to, well, think for yourself. Here we need to specify our database host. If you have created a network, looked at my shorts and created your own Docker network, then you have your own, host name for your container. But if, for example, you haven't done that, then you can do like .scare inspect, and where we have here is our MySQL. The host name is MySQL world, and here is the ID of container, and we can see the container's IP address. If you haven't created your network or specified the IP address of the container, because you can do that, but anyhow you need to create a network, then each time when your container starts, it obtains automatically a new IP address. If you are using this type of method, let's say right now, then it will automatically change up next time when you run your container. And then you will need to go into Nextcloud configuration and change the IP address. So I wouldn't suggest to do this one. Since I have Docker network, then my Docker containers can communicate by host names, and this is my internal Docker hostname for my MySQL. And let's click next, and it's now installing the database, creating the data folder and applying the required permissions for that. And basically after this run I can get an error from Nginx, but that's not an issue. That's not an issue if you get error because anyhow everything's installed and ready to use, only Nginx failed to give us back the answer. Here it offers us to install calendar, contacts, mail, client, Nextcloud Office, Notes, and Talk. Of course, you can skip them. If you skip this part, you can install them afterwards as well. There's no problem for that, but let's install them, allow the installer to install. In this part, the Nginx at some point can give us the error, but it still continues to install. So at the end, we have all these modules installed without any issues. Of course, Nextcloud has a lot more to offer than only these 6 modules. They have a lot more modules inside their, let's say, App Store, or call what you want it. It's easy to install, but bear in mind that there's also third-party modules, so I would not suggest to use third-party modules because at some point they get not maintained. They get not maintained and they don't have updates, they are dropped, or they can have some vulnerabilities. So my suggestion is to use only Nextcloud modules. That's what I'm suggesting. So after our installation is complete, this time we didn't get any error, because when I was done doing this previously last year around September, I got an error from Nginx, but this time it went through without any issues. So yeah, here is some information: basic privacy, productivity, communication, interoperability. Let's go Nextcloud all on your devices. You can download it on your Android, Apple, and use your internal things. Here's also desktop version. It supports also iOS, Linux. In Linux you need to install it running some specific commands, but they have in Nextcloud they have all the tutorials that you need for that, so there's no point of creating additional videos or doing that. But yeah, the installation of Windows is also basic. If you have done this installation, then well, you can download the exe file and click next, specify your domain name. In this case, in my case, that's the amberit.eu, and specifying your domain name. Afterwards, you just specify your username and password, and you are connected, and then you choose what folders you want to synchronize with the Nextcloud. And inside the configuration, you can also specify what is the maximum file size of a single file that you want to upload on your Nextcloud, and also if you want to keep a copy of files on your device, or you want to have only symbolic links. If you use symbolic links, let's say some file, Word file, then basically once you try to open it, it will take a few extra seconds to download that file from the Nextcloud server. Depends also on your network speed and your server usage, hardware, and stuff like that. So yeah, let's move forward. Here is some tips that you can go through. And this is our Nextcloud. We have installed it. We can set weather. We can set our status. If the Nextcloud is used by the team members, then they can see if you are busy or you are free to talk, to chat, or anything else. Talks. These are basically chats. Notes to ourselves we can leave and stuff like that. This is the chatting app that's integrated inside the Nextcloud. You can also share files via chats, upload files, and stuff like that. And this application also works on Android, and on iOS it's built in their app itself. And yeah, basically these are our files. Nextcloud gives you default files and also default video to watch that you can watch short. And some user guides, Nextcloud user manual, if you want to read it. All the PDFs, everything you can open inside the Nextcloud, therefore you don't need to open on your laptop. And this is one of the secure ways to not get any laptop vulnerabilities, and it's much more secure to use. And let's open a .6. It's now trying to open with Nextcloud Office Suite that I'm not sure that it installs by default, so maybe it needs to be installed additionally. So yeah, this is, you can use the photos, you can access albums, you can connect your email if you want, manage your contacts. Also, you can synchronize your contacts with Android and iOS. The same is with calendar. You can create appointments, events, you can invite the team members and stuff like that. And you can have your own notes. About the files, you can also share the files. I took an image. Basically, you can set reminders, move copy, but why it doesn't show me the share function? Or it's only for the new files that I create. Basically, the share function, here it was. Basically, you can share with someone via email. You can share with someone in your Nextcloud instance. You can have a shareable link with the access custom permissions as well. And the thing that I like the most is also that you can specify the time, how long that file will be available using that link. Once it expires, doesn't matter if that file was given to user with specific permissions with login credentials, like only the Nextcloud generates the password, and you can give it so securely so that that user only can access who has that password. Once the time expires, the file is not available for them anymore via that link. And here you can also see the versions, and you have the version controls also. That is the great thing about Nextcloud, that you can have this and also revert back to some previous version in case you have done something wrongly. Now, once we have finished with that part, let's go to our customization and admin panel. And before we actually go to the admin controls and stuff like that, I would like to say that it is great to have this tool if you want your data privacy and if you don't want anybody snooping around your data. And the greatest part is that everything is transparent. In their GitHub, you can see the Android, you can see the iOS, Nextcloud, the Windows software also. This what we installed, you can see that one. And also inside there, in their GitHub, you can also find their Linux application, that's user application, and all these things you can find there, see them there, and see the code itself if you want to review and be secure that it doesn't send to some, I don't know, server somewhere your data. So with all that, you can have all that information straight away. So let's dig into the admin. This is our admin type. Here we can have appearance accessibilities, where we can change our themes and how we want Nextcloud to look and stuff like that. Basic stuff, availability, flows, sharings. But now let's look at something else. This is personal settings. And you can specify your name, email, phone number, Twitter links, and stuff like that, your usage. And here you can also specify what you want publicly or privately, because you can also create your business card so that everybody can find you in the internet, and they will basically find you like Nextcloud / in this case it will be Amber IT, because my user is Amber IT. If you use your user, let's say, I don't know, something else like IT, then if someone searches, they can find all that information about you, if you, of course, allow it to be publicly visible. If not, then nobody will be able to see it. And here we can also install the applications that I mentioned before. They can disable them and enable them. These applications that comes by the default. As you saw, the calendar was installing, and the contacts and the mail when we were doing the installation. But anyhow, you can disable them and also enable them and do as you want. And also you can install some new applications. Here are some games, some custom specific dashboards, some integrations, Draw.io, elements, you can Dropbox integrations, and a lot of more. So basically you can customize your Nextcloud and its functionality free of charge. Actually, I haven't seen any applications that are for monthly subscriptions except for the Office application. that was monthly. And if, let's say, we click on this one, PayPal Nextcloud Salesforce, we see that it's developed by third party. As I mentioned before, don't trust on third party 100% because it can be also vulnerable, or it can be also not maintained. Here is a password manager that you can keep and store securely encrypted your passwords on the Nextcloud also. And soon will be new video that will be coming out about specific password manager, a great project that one French guy is developing. So I need to finish some things before I get to that. And also supports Android and iOS. So this is the store. Here you can create users and user groups. Let's say I will create group, some group. Here we have some group. Now we can create a new user. Let's call it some user. Display name will be some user. Password. Let's have password. Here we can specify email that we actually need. Let's do like this email doesn't exist, and we are adding that user to the group. Here we can specify the if that user is an admin in that group. So what does mean? That means that he can add more users in that group, remove and manage them. Disk space, how much you want to give to that user. You can also specify yourself, and who is the user's manager, who can do resets of passwords and stuff like that. My password is too weak for this user. Please choose another password. Okay, let's choose something else. And here we have some user, and it's signed to this group. And here if we see users, we can see it. We can also delete it, wipe all the devices. Let's say if he has Android application, Windows and stuff like that, it will wipe all the data that's synchronized with Nextcloud, or send welcoming emails, do the customizations and stuff like that. And the last thing I will show you is the administration. Here is our overview, where Nextcloud is also alerting us about issues that we could face and what we need to change, check or edit, and the links to the documentations. That's a great thing because here you can see it's all beautifully written, and also written what you can do to avoid this kind of things. So yes, this is very good thing, and you can also specify which group can see this and run the updates. Updates also can be run from here, but since we are using Docker, then we will need to run a new latest Docker container. This is Nextcloud support, their GitHub, what I mentioned before. We can open it. Here are their repositories and all their projects. So all the source code of all the things are here inside the GitHub. You can read it, use it again, use it like obeying the rules that are the open license rules. Here is how the background job works. If you don't have users that go all the time in, and if you want for users to run it much smoother, then you can add a cron, SMTP configurations. Here are the sharing options. You can also specify who can share, how they can share, how secure the sharing password should be, and if the passwords always should be enabled for the sharing. That's when you share the file with someone, the link that user goes into, if he should enter the password, and how the password is secure. Because that's the great thing, always keep it under the password so that Google bots or bad actors doesn't find the files that are not needed to be found. You can play around with a lot of settings here and also add some other Nextcloud trusted servers and stuff like that. And the main thing I will show you one more, this is two-factor authentication. This is the security, the minimum strength of the password. This is how many times the user cannot repeat the password. Let's say he uses test 1, 2, 3, 4. Next time it asks to reset the password or change the password after, let's say, these days, it again uses the same. If you use, let's say, 5 times, then 5 times he cannot use test 1, 2, 3, 4. After the 5th only password, he can use it. And O2 authentications as well. Teams, we will not go through that one. Administration privileges, here's the activity. You can also check mark what goes to the Android, iOS application notifications. And yeah, talk. This is the Nextcloud Office. I guess we haven't installed it, but you can follow the guide and install it. Then Word, Excel, PowerPoint and documents can be opened, edited, written in the Nextcloud. Also, team members can work together on the same document. That's really important. And other things that Nextcloud offers, like Draw.io module that I showed you, also team members can work in a voice call using the Nextcloud, or let's say any other calling app. They can work together at the same time, draw stuff. That's like teamwork, collaboration, and stuff like that. And here you can see your system health and what's happening with your system itself. And yes, basically these are the admin configurations. You can also connect the Nextcloud with Active Directory and OpenLDAP, so that users that are in your Microsoft Active Directory and LDAP can access Nextcloud. That's easy, also by this panel. As this video is getting too long, then I think on this great note that I have showed you the important things, we will end. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please subscribe, like the video, as I always will be appreciated, and follow for more interesting content. And my thoughts on Nextcloud, I think you should use it because it will help you in day-to-day actions and keep your data safe. Of course, you can use iCloud, Microsoft Office 365, and some, I don't know, Dropbox, what else there was, Azure, or no, that was Office 365. There was another cloud, that is Google Cloud. Of course, you can use them, but 100% to rely that they don't sniff your documents or your files, you cannot be. So this is the one way how to go securely. If you want to keep your business ideas or your personal ideas, thoughts, documents and stuff safe, secure, you can host it on any VPS provider or inside your house, even on your laptop, on old machines, on PCs, on anything. So yeah, this video isn't sponsored by Nextcloud or by anybody else. So if you liked it, please click like, subscribe, follow for more. Thank you and have a great day. Bye-bye.